All right, shalom, shalom. Mr. Brother Zachariah coming back to you with another lesson. All right, here on this Sunday evening. But before I get started, I want to give all honor, all glory, and all praise unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakakwadash. Double honors unto the elders of the nation of Israel. Shalom to you brothers out there that are laboring, enduring the elements, making your body a living sacrifice, trying to seal the elect, making your call and election sure, seeking out your own salvation, as well as you sisters that are learning, listening, applying, being obedient to your husbands. Shalom, shalom. Once again, it's the Brother Zachariah coming back to you with another lesson. All right, here on this Sunday evening, and Lord willing, this be edifying. All right, so without further ado, we're going to go ahead and just dive right into it. All right, and I'm on Instagram, and I'm on this page where it's called End Back Pain. Okay, but something about this post, man, it kind of intrigued me, man. It hit me. I was like, oh shit. And it says at the top, it says stop being a people pleaser. Okay, which that's what we're going to talk about in this lesson. All right. And then it also says studies say being a people pleaser can give you autoimmune disease. Okay, so who would ever think that, tapping into being a people pleaser, all right, that the effects of that can actually lead to you having autoimmune disease. All right, so let's it's a little bit of reading. All right, I want to read this. All right, it says chronic people pleasing is more than just a personality trait. It can actually take a toll on the immune system. It says constantly putting others first often means living under long-term stress. All right, suppressing emotions and neglecting self-care. Over time, this state of always on stress floods the body with cortisol, all right, and other stress hormones. It says which weakens immune regulation. Research shows that when the immune system is repeatedly overstimulated in this way, it can become confused and begin attacking the body's own tissues, leading to autoimmune conditions such as rheumatoid arthritis, lupus, and Hashimoto's thyroiditis. All right, if I'm saying that right. It says, in short, being a people pleaser may feel like keeping the peace on the outside, but on the inside, it can quietly program your body to chronic inflammation and disease. All right. So that's a heavy thing, if this is this is true. All right, which, hey, the Bible does warn about being a people pleaser. OK, because like I said, everything you can go back into the scriptures. All right, and pretty much tap into. And that's what we're going to do with this lesson. So again, Lord willing, this be edifying. All right. But again, it says study says being a people pleaser can give you autoimmune disease. OK. All right. So I got this pulled up. It says people pleaser, meaning I wanted to go to the AI overview and see what it says. It says a people pleaser is someone whose actions are driven by a need to make others happy, often at the expense of their own needs and well-being. OK, which that's a heavy thing. OK. You have to be mindful of that. Sometimes you got to take care of yourself. You could be into that people pleasing type of spirit. All right. And be neglecting yourself. Therefore, it could be a wear and tear on you. All right. But again, someone whose actions are driven by a need to make others happy, often at the expense of their own needs and well-being. This behavior involves suppressing one's own wants, feelings, and integrity to gain approval. See that gaining approval, which we're going to get into that a little bit too. I got some other stuff I want to tap into. And it says avoid conflict, which can lead to low self-worth, resentment, and poor boundaries. Okay. And then it says, I wanted to show you that, hey, people pleasing is in the Bible. All right. It says the Bible generally discourages, people pleasing, emphasizing that believers should prioritize Yahweh's approval over human approval. Okay, as demonstrated by Paul's statement in Galatians 1:10. It says this unhealthy form of people pleasing is often rooted in the fear of man. Okay, which it says we rather obey God than men. Hey, we don't fear men. You're supposed to fear Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, which is the beginning of wisdom. Okay, and can lead to compromising one's values, spiritual exhaustion. We read that it could also really hurt your health. It says in a distorted sense of identity. Instead, the Bible calls for serving others out of genuine desire to do good and serve the Lord, rather than from a need to avoid rejection or gain love. Okay. And even the scripture says, why trimmest thou ways to seek love? Okay. So there's so many different precepts, but let's go ahead and get this Galatians 1 and 10. Okay. And it says, for do I now persuade men or God? Okay. It says, or do I seek to please men? Okay. For if I yet please men, I should not be the servant of Hamashiach Yahushai. Okay. So you see that? All right. That people pleasing stuff, man, is not it's not good on you, man. And obviously, as we read in that article, it's not good on your health. All right, which, you know, taking care of your health is key, man. It's you know, you should do that. You know, take care of your body. All right, which this is the book of Sirach 30 and verse 15. It says, health and good estate of body are above all gold, and a strong body above infinite wealth. Okay. Verse 16, it says, there is no riches above a sound body, all right, and no joy above the joy of the heart. Okay. So you want to take care of your body, man. All right. You know, keeping yourself healthy. All right. And that could take a toll on you. All right. And on your health. All right. Trying to be a people pleaser. Okay. And people, even, you know, us coming into this truth can take it to the extreme too. All right. You know, you got a lot of people that tend to they'll tap into that whole brown nosing or ass kissing type deal as well, you know. So it's very heavy. So when I saw this, I said, you know, it definitely was a time to go into that, because there were a lot of precepts that came to my mind. All right, which this right here in the book of Proverbs chapter 29 verse 26, it says, many seek the ruler's favor, but every man's judgment cometh from the Lord Yahweh. Okay. So a lot of times people seek for the ruler's favor, somebody, you know, that's head over you down here. You look for the favor of men, which, you know, us in this faith and this truth, we're looking for the favor of Yahweh Shem Yahushua, because at the end of the day, we all are men. Okay, you know, we're not Yahweh Shem Yahushua himself. All right. So again, it says, many seek the ruler's favor, but every man's judgment coming from the Lord Yahweh. All right. So I wanted to pull up a couple of terms. All right, you got brown nosing, meaning origin. It says the phrase brown nose originated in the 1930s American military and refers to servile flattery or currying favor by implying that a person is so obsequious, if I'm saying that word right, they would metaphorically have their nose soiled by being too close to an anus to gain advancement. Okay. Which it says the term derives from the crudeness of kissing ass, okay, suggesting even more vulgar and subservient act where one's nose would be covered in brown feces. Crazy, man. But, you know, I've heard that brown nosing, which, you know, the people do that stuff on the job, okay? You know, I always tell this story. We had a co-worker. We still have a co-worker, all right, on the job, but this it's an old lady, man, and she is one of the biggest brown nosers, ass kissers on the job. Like literally, she will tell on people on anything, small things, man, and she'll blow it out of proportion and trying to get you in trouble. She, you know, always snitching on people. Which I'm gonna say this, man, and I know many other brothers can attest to this. Esau don't like a snitch, man, because, you know, like you'll have some of our people, they'll try to, you know, even back during slavery, you know, we had some what people call Uncle Toms. They'll go around, you know, snitching. Master so-and-so did this and did that. You know, they show you in movies, you know, how, you know, you had these Uncle Toms that would snitch and try to rat you out and stuff like that. All right. So, you know, we had that even back then. But anyways, going back to this co-worker, she would always snitch and stuff like that. And then so one time, and like I said, Esau don't like a snitch, which our plant manager, all right, which is, she's a woman, but she don't like that as well, because she's probably, you know, the mindset of Esau, Edom is thinking, okay, if you ratting your own people out, you might tell on me, you know, so they be thinking about that. They don't. So Esau don't want no rats around him or a sellout, you know, because he gonna really look at you like you are, you know, he already hates you, but then seeing that, like man, you a disgrace to your own people. All right. But anyways, this old lady that was doing all this, when it came time to get a raise, she only got a nickel. You know, when some people were in there getting got a dollar raise, maybe even more than that, you know. But she only got a nickel, 5 cent raise. And she was hot, man, you know. And I made a joke and I said she dropped a dime, you know, because you know that term drop a dime is basically you snitching. She dropped a dime and got a nickel back, and everybody was cracking up, man, you know, when I said that. But I mean, literally, that's what happened. I said, man, she dropped a dime and got a nickel back, which she got that on her raise. But, you know, as far as her raise, which people, the ones she was telling on got a bigger raise than she did. All right. So that should have been a lesson learned for her, you know. But you also got ass kisser, which it pretty much says the same thing. You know, it says an ass kisser is a person who excessively flatters or praises someone, especially a person in authority. See, you have a lot of that. Okay, we even, you know, there are times where that's brought out in the truth where you don't see somebody that has that type of spirit on them. A person in authority in order to gain a personal advantage. Okay, it is a derogatory slang term that implies insincerity and a lack of self-respect. All right. So yeah, you have that, okay? This is the book of Psalms chapter 118 and verse 8. It says, it is better to trust in the Lord Yahweh than to put confidence in man. All right? These individuals, they be so far up, somebody over them, so far up their butt, you know, that it's like, dang, you know, are you even thinking about Yahweh Shem Yahushua? You know, they start praising men more than they praise Yahweh Shem Yahushua, and that ain't the right spirit to be in. Okay, so that could probably be detrimental unto your health as well, man. All right, this is the book of Matthew chapter 23 and verse 5. All right, and it says, but all their works they do for to be seen of men. So see, there's people that do their works to be seen of men. You know, we can use the truth for an example. You might have some that do videos and they're doing the videos to be seen, you know, like, hey, look at me, I'm doing all these videos and you know, wanting to be seen, you know, of men. You know, when some just, hey, they do it, you know, whatever your lot may be, you're doing it and that's it. You know, you're not making it like look at me over here, you know. I did 50 million videos in a week, you know, or something like that. Which, you know, that's really insane. If you could do that, you know, I mean, if you can do that, that's awesome. But, you know, like, that's insane, you know. But somebody will do some things to try to be seen of men, all right? Instead, you just, you know, you're humbly doing what you're doing, okay? And if you want to be seen of anybody, you want to try to be, and you want the please somebody, please Yahweh Shem Yahushua, do it for him. All right, not to be seen of men, but again it says, but all their works they do for to be seen of men. They make broad their phylacteries, if I'm saying that word right, phylacteries, all right, and enlarge their borders, the borders of their garments. All right, yeah, you know, you don't want to fall into that type of category or be like that type right there. All right. This is the book of John, chapter 14 and verse 6. It says, Yahweh Shai saith unto him, I am the way, all right, the truth, and the life. No man cometh unto the Father but by me, all right? Which, you know, we understand that, hey, the Heavenly Father has set up men, all right? He has men down here, okay? You know, you have elders, you have things like that, all right? And which we give double honors unto, all right? But we don't get into a spirit of where we start, you know, brown nosing, being up somebody's butt, you know, or trying to be seen of men, you know, get the praises of men. You know, people seek out the praises of men, you know, instead of, you know, like, man, I'm doing this, you know, the Heavenly Father. It's all about Yahweh Shem Yahushua, you know, because that's, hey, the elders will tell you the same thing. Hey, don't be doing that on us. You know, you give that energy, put that energy towards Yahweh Shem Yahushua. The angels would even tell you that, hey, don't be doing all that around me, man. I'm thy fellow brother, you know. He's like, don't worship me, worship God, you know. So again, Yahweh Shai saith unto him, I am the way, okay, the truth and the life. No man cometh unto the Father but by me, okay. Call all Yahweh Shem Yahushua, man. All right. So with that, this is the book of John, all right. 14 and verse 15. All right, and I can go ahead and close it out with this. You know, it wasn't supposed to be a long lesson. This is something through the spirit. And this will probably be my last lesson tonight. it's been a long day. I was trying to get things together. Like I said, I've been neglecting things with my place. A lot of cleaning. I was trying to get some laundry and things knocked out. And, so just, pretty much time to wind down and got to, get myself together and get up in the morning, head into the plantation, another day in captivity. All right. But this is the book of John, chapter 14, verse 15. It says, if ye love me, keep my commandments. All right. If you love Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, all right, keep his commandments. Okay. All right. Which actually I'm thinking of another precept too. Let me go ahead and grab that real quick. All right. This is the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 12, starting at verse 13. And I'll end it with this one. OK, I know I said I was going to end it with the other one, but, it came to my mind, precepts. Hey, it be like that sometimes. But Ecclesiastes 12, starting at verse 13, says, let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. All right. Fear Yahweh. OK, we don't fear men. We fear Yahweh. OK, and keep his commandments. For this is the whole duty of man. OK, don't be a people pleaser. All right. Don't be a brown noser. Don't be an ass kisser. OK, especially the people pleasing when it was talking about it in that article. It says, man, that's detrimental to your health, man. You got to take care of your body. All right. Because your body is the temple of Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, man. All right. So again, it says, let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear Yahweh and keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man. Okay. Verse 14, for Yahweh shall bring every work into judgment with every secret thing, whether it be good or whether it be evil. Call all Yahweh Hashem Yahushua. I want to give all honor, all glory, and all praise unto Yahweh Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem Rakakwadash. Double honors unto the elders of the nation of Israel. And shalom to you brothers and sisters out there. And to the next one, shalom.